Strong sexual content. Tohle to bylo už v předchozím traileru. Kde jsou ty nový záběry?
Hello guys, nice to meet you. I'm Leah, and this is Dying to Know.
Dying to know.
What's going on in the world of Dying Light 2, then you're in the right place. Here we'll be showing you all the news, the latest from the Dying Light world. We'll be announcing a few contests, we'll be talking to developers, and probably most importantly, we're going to be showing you a brand new gameplay trailer
No
where you can see the
kurva!
current state of the Dying Light 2 game. But first, there's someone here I need to introduce you to. It's Aiden Caldwell.
I'm a pilgrim, an outcast, roaming like a Japanese ronin or an Old West desperado.
Co ti jebe, to je jaký edgelord, ta hlavní postava. Oproti klasickému Craneovi, který tam akorát dropoval nějaký hlášky.
Hello guys, my name is Jonas Scott and I voice Aiden Caldwell in Dying Light 2. But before that, I'm going to host this program with Leia, if you don't mind.
My pleasure. Well, I'm ready. Jonah's definitely ready, and I hope you're ready.
So if you're dying to know, just like us, then stick with us.
The story told in Dying Light 2 occurs 20 years after the events of the first game.
20 let, no, velký časový skok mezi jedničkou a dvojkou.
Well, there's no better person to ask than the Dying Light 2 world director, Thomas Gabau, with who I'll be talking in just a moment.
And after that, I'll be speaking with Piet Jemenic, the narrative director of the game, so about the characters that appear in Dying Light 2.
Welcome to the show, Thomas. So the first question I have for you today is, do I need to have played Dying Light 1 to sort of understand what's happening in Dying Light 2?
Kdyby to byli opravdoví frajeři, tak celou tu prezentaci udělají na opravdový střeše. A kdokoliv bude moct kdykoliv spadnout, když udělá špatný krok.
In a way, you could say that Dying Light 2 takes us to the world beyond the apocalypse.
Intriguing. All right, tell me more, please.
Well, you remember the events of Heron in 2014. Well, after that, world leaders, they had a tough choice to make. They had to isolate the city of Heron.
Right.
For that, they created an exclusion zone. Like in Chernobyl, only a lot more people were left to die inside the walls.
Yeah, right. So they just isolated the entire city. And did it help? Did it stop the virus?
Yeah, for a while it worked. Enough for everyone to forget about it, at least. Only in secret, a handful of scientists continued to study the virus. You know, manipulating its DNA, creating new strains. They were looking for commercial military applications. So, you know, they're doing it for the money, really.
Yeah, of course. So what happened next?
Well, next, the shit hit the fan. By Christmas 2021, one of these mutated strains escaped from a level 4 laboratory located near Geneva. We don't really know if this was accidental or not, but this time the virus was much faster than any government. Before the world could react, civilization was on the brink of collapse. People were dying in the streets, capital cities were burning. By the end of 2023, 98% of the population had been lost to the virus. There was a few settlements remaining, but only one city was still standing. The last bastion of mankind, our city, Villador, aka the city.
Right, so Villador is what we have left. So that's everything that's happened outside of the city. What actually happens inside Villador?
Well, the city has unique rules. First of all, it's surrounded by seemingly impassable walls. And inside the walls, the people decided to use a radical new weapon against the infection, which actually gave them the upper hand in the first stages of the pandemic. Okay. But it also created terrifying new monster archetypes. 15 years on, a new equilibrium sort of emerged in the city. By daylight, human factions fight to control the city, and at night, the streets become the realm of these bloodthirsty, infected monsters.
Great. Well, that is extremely interesting. Thank you very much, Thomas. And we'll be hearing more about the vibrant and fantastic city soon, I hope. But first, I think we need to hear a little bit more about the characters.
Our second guest is a man of two industries, cinema and gaming. In a previous life, he wrote the hit HBO series Vataha?
Vataha, yeah.
And then he moved on to Techland to become a narrator.
Je to dobrý, není to Game of Thrones scénárista.
So we have plenty of time to talk about the rest of the characters in Dying Light 2. There are tons of them. But today, I think we want to focus on Aiden Caldwell, the protagonist. You want to talk more about him?
Yeah, sure. So Aiden, he's the member of Outcasts, you know, the group of people traveling through this dangerous world of Dying Light 2, called pilgrims, because he's looking for his relative, the person whom he lost many, many years ago, and that person is his only memory from the past, and the only answer to whom Aiden really is.
Aiden is a really rich, deep character, very much cooler than I am.
Oh, no, come on.
I mean, he can run across buildings, jump from rooftop to rooftop, use all kinds of weapons.
Yeah, well, you know, he didn't have much choice. This world is full of infected, bloodthirsty creatures, so he didn't have much choice, right? The weak die, the strong survive, and Aiden, he just has to be strong. But why did he come like that? Why him? That's the main question of the game, and the player will have opportunity also to decide how Aiden will evolve. Will he help the weak? Will it distract him from his main goal? Or maybe he will just strive to the end of his search as soon as possible.
I can't imagine trying to survive or live in a city like that as a lone wolf by yourself without any kind of support.
Well, he's not gonna be alone, you know. He will meet many people. But again, depending on the player choices, some of them will become his allies, but some of them will become his enemies. One of the group he will encounter are the Night Runners, the former special force officers who were sick of the army's cynicism and lack of concern for common people. But they were brave enough to help the people during the night. And the night, as you know, is pretty horrifying in the game.
Yeah, so Aiden joins the Night Runners?
Oh, that's the question, my friend. The player will have to answer too. I won't spoil the pleasure of discovering Aiden's actions and true motivations, but what I can share with you is the fact that we really put big effort to make this character and many others complex and multidimensional. But there is so much more to be discovered during the game.
Oh, that's fascinating. I can't wait to learn more. Thank you so much, Piotr.
Thank you. Thank you.
So before we watch the gameplay trailer of Dying Light 2 for the first time, we need to talk about something which is basically at the center of the Dying Light universe, which is
the community. Over the past few years, Dying Light has amassed over 23 million players and a 95% positive review rating on Steam.
Which in Steam Talk is overwhelmingly positive, so bravo.
Yeah, we'd like to take a few seconds and thank you guys.
Thank you all for being on this journey with us. Thank you for sharing your love with others of Dying Light. And thank you for these great moments spent together. Dying Light 1 has some amazingly creative fans, which is fantastic, pardon the pun, because we're going to be starting a brand new contest which will combine your love of Dying Light with that same creativity.
With the release date of Dying Light 2 drawing ever closer, we'd like to extend our hand and invite you to make the community a little bit bigger. If you find yourself skilled in the ways of visual arts, writing, costumes, and cosplay, please join the Dying Light universe.
So check out dyinglightgame.com/contest, and if you win, there's a fantastic monetary prize on the line. But also, there's some other great rewards you could be in with a chance with winning as well.
Like Platinum Edition of Dying Light. Look at this. This is the finest edition of Dying Light ever made. This is the Platinum Edition of Dying Light. This has every bit of content ever released for Dying Light in one place. It's massive. I mean, look at it.
For those of you who haven't experienced Dying Light yet, we are introducing Dying Light 1 Platinum Edition. It's the biggest and most complete edition to have ever existed.
And we're offering it to you now at an historic.
Kurva, kolikrát ještě vydají tu Dying Light jedničku znova, to už začíná být jak GTA 5. Až na to, že tady máme actually ty vole nějaký
vydání. Get your
vydání.
Platinum Edition of Dying Light now. This is the best offer, like ever. I guess we don't have time to go over everything that's in the Platinum Edition, but it is everything. This is how it looks. Okay, so I'm excited because you guys are in just a second gonna see the official gameplay trailer for Dying Light 2. And then after that, we're gonna interview some of the devs that made it possible.
So, without further ado, here it is.
Teď ukaž ten gameplay, dělej.
We've been quiet for some time, since, like the rest of the world, we had some unforeseen hurdles to clear. But the wait is over. Let's dive into the open world of Dying Light 2.
To je debil, tento jump wall.
The last slice of Dying Light 2 showcased the mission from the main storyline.
You get after those fuckers.
You saw how your decisions influenced the narrative and notably changed the environment. This time, we want to give you a broader look at the game and a sneak peek at some of the things we'll be talking about in upcoming months. In Dying Light 2, you become Aiden Caldwell, an outsider trying to unravel a tangled mystery from his past. Its trail leads him to the city, probably the last bastion of mankind in the world.
Oh, shit!
At first, you feel like this intense, brutal place will tear you apart. But then you meet the Night Runners, veteran survivors who help people in better days.
By the way, I'm Hakon.
You were a Night Runner. We used to help people, remember?
Night Runners are gone. Finished. A myth.
And although it's not entirely clear you can trust them, you need allies in the dark. And these are the modern Dark Ages. It's been 15 years since the apocalypse and the world has changed. The old civilization has fallen, but a new one has been built on its ashes. People fight desperately for scarce resources. Rules are broken.
Jak ujebe, ten se otočí na tebe. I don't think so.
Struggle for position in the city. Survivors pride themselves on being able to adapt to any circumstances and cobble together safe zones almost everywhere. Peacekeepers, loyal soldiers who want to impose their version of law and order and trample all in their path. Renegades, ex-prisoners serving their ruthless colonel, seeking to become sole rulers of the city.
Where is Waltz? Make him tell me.
Christoph Waltz? Ten je v hanebných panchachtech a je super.
To reach your goal. Help or harm them to reshape the city to your liking. Just remember, each faction contains complex characters.
Nosy Parker, ain't ya? Got some kind of bad habit of yours?
So, will you follow cold calculation or your heart?
The Bazaar needs good people. Help us and you'll find a home here.
Some in the city offer no chance for an alliance. Bandits, outlaws, and common thugs live only to plunder and kill, plunging the streets into chaos. Yet, nightfall scares all of them equally.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Darkness changes the rules of the world. As the light fails, monsters crawl out of hiding to prey on the poor souls caught outside the safety of UV rays. Hordes of infected pour into the streets like decaying lava. The deadly spawn of 15 years of mutation and evolution. Only escape? Exploit the city's verticality and flee to the roofs. Though even there, you are never safe from swift and deadly virals. Or even greater threat. Yet night brings opportunity as well. Nests rife with infected during the day now lie empty.
Takže se jde na čorovačku.
But those brave enough to face the terrors of the night can loot a jackpot. Luckily, you have all the tools you need to survive.
Tools?
Your extraordinary parkour skills allow you to navigate even the most treacherous terrain.
Škoda, že se ta dvojka neodehrává 30 let po jedničce, protože pak by to bylo skoro 10 000 dní.
On the roofs, you can count on your parkour acrobatics to save your
Dropkick je zpátky, no jistě.
You have to face your enemies head on. And then you have to be smart, resourceful, and
děláš si prdel, ty vole, od boku.
We've worked hard on the essence of our combat, making sure swinging a big, meaty weapon is fun, satisfying, and well executed.
Big, meaty, ty píčo, to trojitý uříznutí hlavy, já jsem se asi udělal.
You have multiple ways to hone your skills toward the gameplay style that suits you best. On mobility and parkour.
Co ti jebe, ty můžeš udělat double jump s dropkickem? To je nejlepší hra.
With the tools you've created, get the job done. Every ability you learn can be a game changer and possibly a new favorite move.
Kámo. Ty píčo, dvouhlavňovka s boxérem, co ti jebe?
Each moment matters. Each move could mean triumph or
defeat. To je nová waifu, ta umře na konci hry jako Jade z prvního dílu, chat, sorry za spoilery.
Everything you do in the city can reshape the gameplay environment, change the course of the narrative, and decide the fate of the city's residents. But most importantly, you decide your own fate as well.
You're about to turn.
Make sure to stay human.
An extensive post-apocalyptic world. And I really like that divisiveness, you know, the life on the roof and then death on the streets.
Yeah, like the intensity of the day and the night cycle together.
It's almost like Dying Light 2 is two different games put together into one.
Yeah, like despite all the brutality going on the ground floor, there's something about like the rooftops and the plants.
It's cozy.
Yeah, I kind of want to be there. But it does feel like every decision is vital. Like your choices actually do have some consequences.
Choices and consequences are incredibly vital to Dying Light 2's gameplay. And we're going to interview some devs and talk about some other very vital gameplay mechanics.
Oh, to říkali u Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Our next guest is Aiden Caldwell.
Proč se jmenuje Pizza?
Welcome, and that gameplay looked awesome. I know we can't wait to get our hands on it, but congrats.
Thank you. For sure. It looks like you guys have a very unique world and a very unique game. Where y'all get your inspiration from?
Oh, that was a research. We did a deep dive into the history of our world, and we found repetitive patterns. We found that people use the same behaviors in the past after the fall of civilization or after the fall of the nation that's supposed to be a backbone of our world. So our approach was super simple. We just copycat those behaviors and attitudes and show you how our world would look like after the fall. However, it's kind of obvious that the main reason that civilization fall is virus, pandemic, or eventually the economical collapse. Yeah, that's basically obvious thing. But it's even darker if you connect those things with the research we did at the beginning of the production. So people will question everything. They're gonna blame everything and everyone that's supposed to guide us in our lives every day. So they're gonna blame governments, they're gonna blame law, they're gonna blame science, or even religion. Some people might ask themselves that, where was God when it happened to us, basically, you know? So I feel that all of those things together creates the sensation that it's a giant step backward for our civilization.
So, Dying Light 2 has a subtitle, Stay Human.
Obrovský krok zpátky pro celé lidstvo, něco jako náboženství v Polsku.
To remember those values that makes us human, so like compassion or support. So The entire fall that those dark times we have is a big test.
Už má ta hra takovou trochu dětskou grafiku.
I think it's even harder.
A tam bude cross-promo event s Fortnite, než to vyjde, ale ještě to neoznámili.
What's the most important for them, or sometimes risk their lives.
Wow, so that's like really intense, and there's like the obvious like double meaning to it, which is what I was thinking. Stay human, don't become a zombie.
Yeah, but one disclaimer: those are not zombies. You know, those are infected people that turn to be a monster. They're just crossing a line, you know, and they're turning to be a monster, you know, because in Dying Light we all infected. Yeah, we all wearing this biomarker, you know, Aiden. You're wearing this.
Všichni mají covid pás na ruce.
That's the thing. So the challenge is to not cross this line at all costs. So that's the biggest challenge of staying human in this meaning.
I see. Yeah, not zombies.
Not zombies.
Not zombies
at all.
People have crossed the line.
Right, well, fascinating. Thank you so much, Adrian. We're definitely going to be hearing from you again soon.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We have with us Katarzyna Tarnacka, the environmental art director.
Hi. And we have game designer Michal Duzak.
Hello. So, choices and consequences. The player has to make a choice, and they have to experience or endure the consequences. What does that mean?
Basically, the whole system of choices and consequences is really, really complex.
To je nuda, když tam nejsou zombíci. Nejsou, no. Oni je vystřelili z té hry, že prý byli moc nudný v první hře, si je nikdo není hrál. Místo toho tam jsou Fortnite postavy, sorry.
The second layer are choices that you do while the quests, and those choices can actually influence the mission itself. And the last one, the last layer, is so-called city alignment system, and I, as a open-world game designer, would like to focus on.
Please do, go on.
All right, so water and electricity are basically a key to survive in every world. By restoring it, player can not only unlock the water or electricity in the area, but he can also, based on his decision, assign it to one of the factions, which will influence how the district looks like or who's going to live inside of it. But it also, what is pretty more important for a player, unlock new tools for him, like unique tools for each factions, like car traps, zip lines, or a trampoline. That player can use in exploration to deal with bandits or infected.
Kámo, ten double jump je absolutně sick, ty píčo.
Basically, based on your choices,
Mafia 3 Faction Style, by the way.
Which gives you
že hra, když má frakce, tak to je automaticky Far Cry, teda tak to je Mafia 3.
What is worth mentioning here that Dying Light 2 is playable.
Sorry, já jsem se neptal Vávry, jestli Far Cry, teda jestli Mafia 3 vynalezla frakce. Myslím, že ne. Ale nejsem expert, od toho je tady chat. Já hraju hry jenom chvilku.
There's one thing I'm really curious about though. Night versus day. How does the gameplay differ from the night and the day?
Well, the short answer is that day is for humans. And night is for
Kooperac? Nevíš, jestli to má stanovený datum? Hele, Vajo, já bych počkal na konec prezentace. Většinou jakoby v té prezentaci říkají info o té hře. Já vím, šílený, co, proto na to koukáme.
And this is the best time for a player to explore the city, meet its citizens, learn the stories, day-to-day agenda, or even simply help them in a quest or open world activities to survive those dark ages.
Yeah, and that sounds quite pleasant, but I'm guessing night changes everything.
Exactly, exactly. During the night, all the infected get out of the buildings, and compared to the Dying Light 1, the night is going to be even more intense this time. Intense in terms of the amount of enemies, the new types, and new, more aggressive behaviors. And what is important, this time night can mean also opportunity. An opportunity for the players who are courage and skilled enough to use the fact that all the infected are outside and buildings are accessible to explore them and search for the most valuable loot in the game.
Katarzyna, you're responsible for the post-apocalyptic look of the city.
Co kdyby ty vole ukázali někoho, kdo dělá soundtrack?
In 2025, a decision was made to use a chemical attack.
První soundtrack byl super, ale ten samý cápek myslím nedělá už tu dvojku. A nejsem si jistý. Tool tam nebude? Já si myslím, že tam bude jeden licencovaný tool song. Mě to říkali.
And spread under the surface, killing every living plant and every living thing in its reach. What it means for the city is that the street levels are virtually dead. The soil is unable to sustain any life, any plant, and the street level is a domain of the monsters, just decaying in every aspect.
Wow, so it sounds like there's just no healthy organic life down there at all.
Not really. The survival on the street level is pretty tough. So the common people are just visitors there. But the life prevailed. It moved up to the rooftops. And this is where the plants are flourishing and blooming in the post-apocalyptic landscape. And this is where people build and develop the new world of Dying Light 2. Electricity producing windmills and save zones for the player. And in a way, in a metaphorical sense, the rooftops are the new default ground floor, the level 0. And trip to the streets is, in a way, a trip underground, a -1 of sorts.
-1 lul, je to prostě jednoduše vstup do bogu megalul.
Yeah, to say the least. I can't imagine being a citizen living.
Tohle se mi líbí kvůli tomu, že důvod, proč ten datadisk nebyl tak dobrý, bylo, že si tam prostě měl strašně málo budov na ten parkour. Takže to tady prostě celá ta mapa je designovaná, aby to bylo podle high lava gameplay. Což je super. To je návrat k té jedničce a to je kurevsky dobrá věc za mě.
It's pretty big.
We know that. Can you tell us a little bit more?
Yes, of course. The map in Dying Light 2 is divided into 2 huge regions and several zones. Okay. There are plenty leftovers from the lost civilization for you to scavenge. But we didn't want our players to perceive the map only horizontally, so we see the map as a multi-level 3D world that supports your traversal and helps you solve parkour puzzles.
Yes, in-house we call it multi-layer open world exploration. And you know, the movement system from Dying Light 1, we remove every restriction from the player. You can move everywhere you want, how you want to do it. And when I think about it, I think that was a big challenge for us to create the geometry that supports.
To si pamatuju.
And we did it.
Tadyhle tu hru. To bylo v traileru.
In Dying Light 2,
na Dying Light 1. V TV spotu, kde hrál Manson.
Or more step forward.
Něco mi to I remember.
That's why we doubled the number of parkour moves.
Doubled, and I mean it's not like there was a shortage.
Cože? Jak jako zdvojnásobili parkour movie?
It's essential there. We improve it.
Kdo je to učil? Tady?
The players will see over 3,000 different parkour animations.
No dávajte.
From the basic move, through the tricks, to the small little tasty details there that you can see it.
Okay, well, unfortunately, I'm going to have to stop you there, but don't hate me because in the next episode, we're going to be talking more about parkour and how the team have managed to make an authentic urban.
No, je tam wallrun v tomhle díle, ten nebyl v jedničce. Je tam double jump, ten nebyl v jedničce.
Thank you very much.
Je tam určitě nějaký odrážení rychlý od stěn. Zhoupnutí za tu tyč, když je jako ve dveřích, nebo takhle, to taky nebylo v jedničce. A celkově tyče, že jo, jako v Eternalu.
And luckily, we have the answer. And that answer
7. prosince. Woo! Let's go, baby! Poslední AAA hra roku.
And now that we know the release date of the game, it's time for you to go pre-order it. Go to dyinglight.com/pre-order. Select your platform and then hit pre-order. And there you go. Congratulations. You just pre-ordered one of the most anticipated games of this year. Go you! Oh, wow. I want one.
Well, I've got good news for you then, because this official figurine is part of the collector's edition of Dying Light 2, and you can get one for yourself if you want. We'll leave like a proper unboxing of the whole set to the professionals, but we do have it all in front of us right now, so it'd be rude not to take a look. You get, in the collector's edition, a concept art book full of stunning artwork from the game. You get this steel book, which will have your game inside it, of course. And you get this interesting little sort of UV flashlight, so yeah.
Cool. It looks like there's all sorts of vanity elements in here too, like some legendary skin packs, as well as all sorts of digital elements. For more information on these digital elements, please visit the pre-order website. I want this.
Kurva, já jsem prošvih představení kolektorky pro joke.
If you're feeling the same way, then I've got good news, because you can pre-order the collector's edition.
Já jsem retardovaný.
Very limited, so you'll have to be very quick.
Rest assured, there will be plenty of the standard edition for your standard gamer. But if you're into special editions, there is a deluxe edition of Dying Light 2 with a steel book, legendary pack, and a digital soundtrack, and much, much more.
Ultimátní edice, jo, takže to bude mít i celý season pass.
That you can buy depending on what you're after.
Tahle hra bude opak Cyberpunku při vydání. Čet. Nadechněme se toho koupia. Tahle hra bude dodělaná, dobrá, based. A budeš tam mít moc sex. Ne, vlastně už potvrdili, že tam nebude žádný sex. Takže to bude jako můj Judy playthrough.
This is just an initial offering. Check back later for even more details, more information, and we'll be going through it in future episodes as well.
How can I be this unlucky, man? Já si fakt nemůžu zašoustat v Polsku. Fakt já si nemůžu zašoustat v Polsku.
And here's a sneak peek at the topic of the next episode. Thank you for watching and stay safe out there. Bye.
See ya.
Jak jako další epizoda? Na to se už vyserte, kurva. Já nechci žádný další epizody. To jim radil CD Projekt? Preorderněte si videohru nyní. Zůstaňte živí, zůstaňte člověkem. Cože? Nějaký nový mixtape z titlu Dying Light 2. Zase tam hrajou synťáky hlavní roli, tak to mám rád, to se mi bude líbit ten soundtrack.